All right, with us right now, we've got Mike and Gaby Grinberg, and you guys are the co-founders of Proofpoint Marketing. You're on the web at proofpoint.marketing. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us, Josh.
You know, I love this. I don't get to interview couples that often, and it's so much fun because, you know, again, the dynamic you each bring, I would imagine, very unique things to the business. And before we kind of get into that and how you run this together and how you've been able to work this, and by the way, you know, I've got a background in this. You know, I've been running my own companies for 20 some years, and my wife has been either really involved or a little bit involved, but pretty much always involved at some level. So we'll kind of get into how you manage all of that, but just give us a high level overview of what Proofpoint Marketing is.
Definitely. So we're a B2B digital marketing agency. We focus our work on tech companies, so software, etc., manufacturing, healthcare are three main verticals. And we really focus on understanding our customers' customers. That's our main thing. So through stakeholder interview surveys, etc., and then we build out strategies and execution plans from there. And we do performance marketing, so performance content, SEO-focused content, and paid media.
Yeah. And how would you describe that world right now?
It's, I mean, just about like everything else, I would say everything is flipped on its head, right? The way that people are engaging, you know, digital is obviously, it was always important, but now it's even more important. And when you look at some of our customer base, which is more, we'll call them old school, like manufacturing companies, they were behind as it was, and now they're kind of having an oh crap moment going, okay, we really got to do this now. So that's really the big change. Obviously the software companies have been digital first for a while, so that hasn't really shifted, and they're just taking even more advantage of it.
Yeah. So, I definitely want to dig more into this. You know, before we do, maybe just a little bit about your background, where you each come from, and how did you find yourself kind of coming together on this?
Well, that's an easy one. We both have a background in digital marketing. Both Mike and I have worked for, you know, agencies, in-house teams, you know, so corporate teams, and Mike also has some experience on the startup side. How we found ourselves working together at Proofpoint is a very interesting story. It's long, so I'm going to try to make it as concise as I can. We started our business out of a family crisis. Our daughter was born very severely premature 5 years ago at 24 weeks. She was 4 months early. She is the second smallest micro-preemie to be born at Children's Minneapolis and to survive till this day, 5 years holding that record.
Wow.
She was born at 11 ounces. So very, very small. Yeah. And we had a long journey. We had 6 months in the NICU. Fast forward a couple of years, so this was 2015 when she was born. In 2017, after being 2 years at home as a stay-at-home mom, I knew that I was ready to go back to work. But we knew, even though I wanted to go back to work, our daughter still needed, you know, to have mom and dad at home, mom and dad close by. And so, long story short, that's kind of how we landed into Proofpoint. There was also that I lost my job, and the company that Mike was working for at the time in 2017, it ended up going bankrupt. So we had some external pressures to kind of figure it out. And the most important reason is that we wanted to be close to our daughter. We wanted to be home. We wanted to create a company that would allow us the flexibility that we weren't finding in other companies. And so that's really the impetus behind Proofpoint. You know, we're a family first company. People first is also part of our mantra, and we are fully remote. We were remote before COVID, and we believe in, you know, being flexible so that our employees can really focus on what's most important. And, you know, I think that we're seeing that happening now more than ever, especially because of external pressures due to the pandemic, that families, you know, moms and dads, whether they work together or not, they are working together at home now, and they're also taking care of their, you know, balancing more than ever the pressures of kids and being a family and school and extracurricular activities. So we are, I think, a little bit lucky in the fact that we were sort of doing this before this happened, and certainly it was a change, but we were able to really ease into this new normal.
Yeah. So Proofpoint has been in business now for over 4 years, right?
Going on 4 years, correct?
Wow.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on that. All right.
Thank you.
So, again, kind of life put you together, but how did you, take, kind of the inception from, okay, we're going to do this, to getting your first group of clients and customers to make this a viable business? So
the good thing is that it wasn't completely from scratch. So while I was working at the startup that ended up going under, I was also consulting on the side. Mm-hmm. Because with our family situation, we'd gone from double income to single income. So I was doing things to make up the difference. And Gaby and I have both been in the marketing space for over 15 years now. So we kind of took that small group of little clients and grew them and got more from there. But it was, thankfully, we both had very strong networks, mostly locally here in Minneapolis. And we used that to initially grow our business. And we've used the referral channel, if you will, to kind of continue to grow as well. And we can dig into that more if you want, in terms of, because a lot of people say, oh, you can't really depend on referrals. That's not a sustainable way to grow a business, which for some businesses it's not. Like, that's not necessarily something that a software company can maybe do, because they need a lot more scale. But when you look at service-based businesses, I actually think it very much is sustainable, as long as you have to nurture your referral sources rather than just kind of expecting referrals to fall from the sky.
Yeah. So what do you do to nurture referrals? Give us all your secrets.
So it's, at the end of the day, it's about building relationships, right? So it's, it could be as simple as, like, I'm part of a couple of networking groups and mastermind groups. And it's, the mantra generally is, and you hear this said all the time, but it's, give more than you take. So, within those groups, if somebody might ask, oh, hey, do you know how to do X, Y, and Z? I'm like, sure. Yeah, let's jump on a call. Let's talk about it. I'll help you out with whatever. And there's not really any inherent expectation that's going to come back today, tomorrow, a week from now, a month from now, but inevitably it does sort of, call it business karma, if you will. So it's things like that. It's being strategic about where you create your referral sources. So it's finding, okay, our target is, we'll say, director to CMO level at, mid-level software companies. Let's just say, okay, so let's find the groups where those people are active, participate in them, give more than you take. And at some point, people start coming in, either they may want to work with you directly, or they'll be, hey, Mike and Gaby are awesome. They work at Proofpoint, go talk to them because, they help me out with this other thing. Yeah. So it's things like that. It's, and Gaby can probably talk a little bit more about this, but when we onboard our clients, and clients are a great source of referrals, but again, you have to nurture that. It's not just about providing great work. Obviously that's expected. If you don't, they're never going to refer anybody to you, and they'll probably fire you at some point. But it's creating more of a relationship with the customers and with the clients. So like, we have a very detailed onboarding process, and we kind of start building that one-to-one relationship from the get-go, from the onboarding side. And Gaby, maybe you can chat a bit more about that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I was going to dovetail on what you were saying, Mike, a little bit before we jump into that. One of the things that we have started doing, and by no means is this, let's say, revolutionary. I think a lot of people in the marketing world have been doing this for a while. But if you're not, you should. And what I'm about to say is very simple. Tell people what you do. And I'm not saying, oh, hi, I'm in marketing, but really provide value to your network. And so one of the things that we're focusing around right now is taking all of our internal processes, all of the internal tools that we use, and putting that externally out on our website, out on our blog, on LinkedIn, and providing step-by-step detailed guides on what it is that we're actually doing. And I think that provides several things. One is that for sure it allows you to be thought of as a thought leader in your space. Number two, there's no question about what you're doing. You know, if a new client or a prospective client is coming to your site and they're looking and they're kind of perusing around, which most folks do these days, is they're going to look and they're going to try to find everything that they can before they make a decision. They're going to have a very detailed outline and tangible information about what it is that you're going to be providing to them. The service and the level of expectation that they have is all going to be spelled out. So that's something that we are currently working on. I would encourage anyone listening out there right now, we just put out a blog post around specifically our client onboarding process on our blog on proofpoint.marketing, and it literally details everything step by step from when an SOW is signed to the actual kickoff of the project, which, you know, from SOW to kickoff, especially in marketing agencies, advertising agencies, that can vary greatly, you know, from anywhere from 2 weeks to 30 days, depending on the complexity of the account and the project. So we've detailed that out. And
is this in your blog or where?
Yeah, it's on our blog. People can go to www.proofpoint.marketing and just hit blog, and it's going to be right there. And we provide downloadables. We provide a step-by-step flow chart of what it is that we're doing in that client onboarding process. And our plan is to really peel back the curtain off of everything that we're doing and share with our audience, our network, our clients, our prospects, heck, even potential employees that may want to work with us at some point. Mm-hmm. So that way we've not only documented what it is that we're doing, we're sharing it, we're creating thought leadership, and we're providing value to people that may actually be struggling with this in their business. I know early on when we were looking for resources and looking for ideas, the first place I go is the internet. I Google, I look, I search, and oftentimes if I don't find what it is that I'm looking for, okay, first thing I get frustrated and I say, why isn't anybody sharing this stuff? Why isn't it out there? And then second of all, that gives us more credence to what it is that we're doing, is to really put it out there, share it. I don't believe in this whole thing of, well, it's my idea and I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna share that. Certainly there are things in life where, you want to get a patent and you want to protect your copyright, and there are times when, you do have to be careful of what you're sharing. But as far as, agency knowledge is concerned and client services and the marketing that we're doing, we feel that it's actually a benefit to us to put it out there and share it with people that are going to be stakeholders in our company.
Yeah, and
I love this. Oh, go ahead.
I was just add one last thing to that. I mean, something that Gabby said is, the sharing, really what you want to do from nurturing referral sources is make it easy for people to give you the referral. Everybody's busy, right? Mm-hmm. So if you, like as an example, two things. One is ask people to give you the referral, because they're not just, most people won't think about you and be like, oh, let me connect Proofpoint to such and such, or company XYZ to such and such. Like they're not thinking about you in that way consistently. So you need to ask. But when you ask, there's a difference between going, hey, John Doe, do you know of anybody that I should talk to? That's like the worst. I mean, maybe that'll work, but that's about the worst type of referral ask. One step up from there is, hey, do you know of people like this or other people like you that kind of match this ICP? That's a little bit better. A step from there is, hey, I looked at your LinkedIn connections through the LinkedIn Navigator, and here's the 5 people I would love introductions to. Mm-hmm. And here's why I think we'd be a good fit for them. And then a step up from there is, oh, and by the way, if you're willing to make these intros, here's some bullet points you could use. Like literally make it easy for them, so they can be like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. I love working with you anyway. Copy, paste, boom, done. Because if you make them work for it, the likelihood of them doing it is very, very small, because they just don't have the time.
Yeah. Could you talk a little bit about your, so I was just looking at your client onboarding article here, and you actually put together, you surprise and delight is yes. Really important. And you guys do a couple of cool things. You mind talking about that?
Sure. If I knew we were going to talk about it, I would have brought my box in on the call. So we've thought a lot about the client onboarding process as well as the employee onboarding process, which mirrors the client process to some extent. But we have, for those that go to the website, you'll see we have some pictures of this beautifully printed box. It's, 11 by whatever, I don't remember the dimensions. It's a very sturdy box. We use a company called, oh gosh, now I'm forgetting the name. Anyway, we printed a beautiful.
Try and remember the name. Try and remember
I know. You're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah.
I know for sure it's on the blog post. So folks can find it on the blog post. But we used a service that prints.
Packlane.
There we go. Thank you, Josh. We used Packlane. We had our designers, create the box. Not only the outside of the box, which is fully printed with our brand colors and logos and messaging, and also the URL, but also when you open the box, there's a message right on the inside flap as you open it, and we're welcoming our clients to working with Proofpoint. And we have this little saying here called "the proof is in the pudding," and it's that's just been sort of a mantra that we have at Proofpoint. So we have that written in there, and then inside the box we have a number of swag items. So I have one here handy on my desk. We have this very nice water bottle that's insulated, and we wanted to choose items that we thought were going to be useful and valuable to our clients. We have a notebook, we have a USB drive, we have a mug. We also include a number of snacks and goodies. So in Minneapolis, we have some really delicious snack companies and candy manufacturers, and we decided to personalize the box with local food items. In addition to that, there is a handwritten note from our team and some stickers, because everyone loves stickers. And if you don't want them, you give them to your kids. We figured they're going to get used some way or another. And then in addition to that, we have a small printed booklet. It's about 5 by 7, something of that nature. We worked with Vistaprint to have them printed. We used our designer, and it's really just a small booklet that takes the client through, and it's a welcome letter from us. And we tell them, thank you for, you have a lot of options when you're looking for a marketing partner, which is undoubtedly true. And so we're really thanking and acknowledging our clients for making the choice to work with Proofpoint. In addition to that, we have a couple of other pages that talk about our mission, our vision, our values, our brand promises. Our brand promises are really what we promise to our clients, like what we're going to deliver at every touch point of our engagement with them, or at least what we strive to deliver at every touch point. We have a little bit of our story, as most people don't know the background to why we started Proofpoint. So we have a little page on that. And then the final page on the booklet is just kind of listing out the items in the box with kind of some fun little quirky things about these items and why we chose them. And then last but not least, we have another sort of surprise and delight. On the USB drive, we record a personalized video for each client. And so we remind, in that little booklet, we say, hey, pop in the USB drive in your computer, there's another surprise. So we kind of take that step even further, because we're remote, or we're a fully remote company, we don't always have the luxury of being able to be in person with our clients for those first few meetings. We often try when it's possible to fly and to meet with the team, but especially now during COVID times, that's definitely not happening, at least not anytime soon. So not only do we try to have a positive and exciting on-screen dynamic with our clients, via Zoom and via our online and virtual touch points, but we also want to create a surprise and delight opportunity for them in person. I mean, and Josh, tell me, wouldn't you not be delighted to get a box in the mail that just had so many goodies and fun things, and just to kick off the experience with a new partner?
Now, I would imagine, like, if I'm looking at the box, the cost of getting the box designed and printed, and then you got to ship it out, you're probably looking at about $100, right?
Per box?
A little shy of that. I think the total cost for these was like, if I remember it, roughly around 85 or something like that. Yeah. But when you compare it to the value that lifetime value of any client we have,
yes,
that's peanuts.
Yeah, I am inspired. I love this. So whose idea was this, or where did you say,
Not
what?
Mine.
Well, I can't take all the credit. We were inspired. There are so many companies that do things that are similar to this, especially on the employee side. And if you look at a lot of tech, tech companies in Silicon Valley, and that's very expected that as a new employee in a tech company in California, you're going to get a swag box. And so we have something, we do very similar idea with our employees, with new employees that are joining the company. In addition to a computer and other, tech related items that they receive from us, they also receive a box with some goodies and swag and a different onboarding experience for the employee side. But then when we were figuring out the employee onboarding side, we said to ourselves, well, gosh, clients deserve this same experience. Clients deserve this same level of commitment and surprise and delight and love from us. And in addition to, I forgot to mention, in addition to all those goodies and the swag items, we also include a couple of books, several books that are inspired by our culture, inspired by our philosophy on working, and one of them is a book by Simon Sinek, Sinek or Cynic, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, and it's a lovely book. It's a small book. It's easy to read. It's mostly graphics, almost like
it's a children's
cartoon
book with an adult theme to it.
Right. It's a children's book with an adult message behind it. And it really talks about, really resonated with us as a lot of what he says has inspired our philosophy on work and culture and business culture. So we encourage our clients as well as our employees to read that book, to keep it on their desk, to be inspired by it, and to hopefully remember that this is the Proofpoint. This was given to me by Proofpoint, and this is also what Proofpoint stands for. So it's a tangible reminder to say, this is why I'm working with these guys.
Yeah. The one last thing I want to throw out there too is, the box is awesome, and clients have loved it and they've loved getting it. I just want to make sure that point out that if the only thing that anybody takes away from this is, hey, I need to have a box and throw some swag in it, that's a fail. Look at the process, and because everything, the box on its own doesn't do enough. There's no amount of swag you can throw at somebody or amount of snacks that is going to create a relationship. That's just the surprise and delight is one small piece of the whole thing. So I just want to make sure that the listeners take that away, because that's the whole thing is the important part.
Yes.
I think a lot of, again, some of these companies like manufacturing companies, specific things like that, could really use something like this, because most of them have this old school thing of, here's your quote, come look at our facility, and we move on, right? And that's it. That's your onboarding.
Yeah. All right. Tell me about, you've got a podcast that just it's launching, or as of when this episode airs, it will have launched likely. Mixing Business with Pleasure. Tell me more.
Yes, Mixing Business with Pleasure is a podcast about loving your work and working with your love. So as the title implies, we interview other couples, or what we call love partners and life partners, that are in business together, that are now business partners. And as of the airing of this episode, we will be live, and we are always looking for wonderful couples with an exciting.
Josh,
we'd love to have you on this show. Yeah.
Jenny and I have been married. It'll be 25 years in September this year. So
wonderful.
Congratulations.
The vast majority of those years we've been in business. I mean, only 2 years of that. I don't think we've ever not had a business of some sort.
Wow.
And that's mainly,
and you're still together,
right?
which is proof that it can work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, you just signed yourself up for an episode, so I'm going to follow up with you after our call today. We would, if there are any other couples, and we know that there are plenty out there, and it's a wonderful thing, and we want to inspire. Mostly what we want to do through this podcast is bring about these stories of couples that work together. And we have had couples, some really, really exciting stories, couples that have gone through therapy together, that were on the brink of, losing their relationship, and they turn it around. Couples like us that have a child that, has a complex medical history or medical needs. that they balance not only their relationship as husband and wife, but their needs to the child, as well as the growing needs and the demanding needs of their business. So there are so many inspiring stories out there of husband and wife, or, again, love partners, life partners, that take something that is often a difficult, challenging, trying time in their lives, and they turn it into a business, or they fuel that those learnings and those challenges into creating a business, into developing the life that they want, or the company that they want to create, because it's just not out there, or the service that they want to provide because it's lacking in some other industry. So we're very inspired by this. We're very excited by this. Josh, I'm absolutely gonna love to have you and Jenny on our show. And if there are any other listeners out there, please check us out. It's Mixing Business with Pleasure. The podcast will be live as of this airing, so you can check us out on all major podcasting networks. We have our social channels: Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. We will also be launching a private Facebook group for husbands and wives and love partners to connect and network and go even deeper with us on the podcast. And we'll have the website URL is mixingbiz, B-I-Z, withpleasure.com. And if any listener would like to connect with us directly, please find us on LinkedIn. We're very active there and we respond right away. So that's a great place to reach out to us.
And the website is proofpoint.marketing. Mike and Gaby Grinberg, co-founders, thank you so much for all of this. This is a great conversation, and looking forward to hearing the podcast, and looking forward to being one of the episodes.
Absolutely.
And can't wait I'll promote that. Just keep following me on all the socials. I'll promote that episode when it goes live. Thank you so much, Mike and Gaby.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.